Howdy folks, welcome back to the show. It's been a while since I did any talking here, but back for a quick little side project. So my lens. Got some spatter. Oh dear. Well, it doesn't show up on screen, but anyways, so back for a quick little project. So my sister wants a hatchet. So I figured I would make something similar to this little chap, a little integral hatchet. Only I'm going to make my one full tang. I already started working on it the other day, but I didn't get too much done, so y'all didn't miss much. Doing this one full tang, as I said, doing it stock removal too, because felt like I'm doing a bit of experimentation. So these are the materials that I'll use for the hatchet. This will make up the haft, I suppose, and this will be the body of the axe or hatchet, and these are the edge and hammer end respectively. These I made out of some axle, same axle I used to make the hammer axe eye drift. So just cut and ground that one to shape, forged that one. Those will be welded by MIG welding onto both ends of the head once that's done. Zap the whole thing together and off the races. So I'm going to start off by, I guess, cutting the body out. And there's the very rough profile of the head chopped out. Killed my thumbs doing it, as you probably could see. So that's all done now. It's pretty dang chunky. But yeah, so I'm gonna give my thumbs a quick break. And I'm gonna grind this raised bit off. You probably won't see that because it'll be pretty boring. And then I'm going to cut off the ends where the tool steel will go on. Which is a shame because that's a pretty cool looking profile. If only it was hardenable. Oh well. So, yeah. Back to work. Alright, well that was quite a process, but I got that done. This whole side is kind of shiny now. It's pretty much even across there. I can feel a slight variation, but that'll can be fixed up, taken care of later on in the final grinding. That's a lot of weight to this thing, but we'll shave quite a bit off during the grinding and whatnot. You'll notice I have actual prescription safety glasses now, so I'll be giving these things a try for a while. But so with that flattened off, I'm going to put the hatch back on here. Trace out how much I have to cut off both ends for the bit that I cut to work, and get to trimming. Alright, and with those ends cut off, here's the rough idea of assembly. So you can see it'll fit up something like that. I think look pretty cool in the end. Now, these two pieces line up pretty dang close. That's pretty good. This side, however, the bit is much thinner than this is, so I need to put a preliminary pretty big bevel on here to get the end of it the same width as the bit. Once that's done, I can put a bevel on this and get it ready for welding. Alright, I got those bevels knocked on there, so that edge now is approximately the same thickness as the edge piece here, which I cleaned the back side up on. Now the next step is to put a really aggressive bevel all the way around it with a bit of flat in the middle, so that way I can get this thing fit up and I can fill that bevel with weld and get a really solid connection there. Alright, so I got the edge bit tacked on there, And now, just to make sure I really get some pretty solid penetration, I'm going to dump some preheat into the main body of it so it doesn't suck too much temperature out. Have the machine set pretty decently and start running some welds in there. Alright, that's good and hot. Time to weld this thing up. Okay, now I'm going to grind this side a little bit, get a better root surface, and I weld that out. You won't see that though because the camera's battery is getting low. Well, I got it all stuck together. Now the real question is it solid? Seems pretty solid to me. Now I just got to do that process again, but on the back side for the hammer end. Should go a bit quicker though. Alright folks, there's that done. It's solid, nothing's gonna fall off that, but it's getting late, camera's about dead, I'm tired and hungry, so I'm gonna call it there for now, but I'll be picking up tomorrow or something like that, so yeah, it'll just be the same video, so catch y'all then. Alright folks, it's the next day, so I'm gonna get back to work. My first order of business, I'm going to grind all the welds flush and see just how much work I have to do on those to make it look like one solid piece of steel, and then I'll work on profiling it. I should probably move Ajax before I throw the room in sparks for the angle grinder. So now that I got all these welds cleaned up, I'm going to cool this off in the bucket of water and lay the original axe I'm roughly basing this off of over this and get a rough idea for a profile in there. Cutting edge is a bit shorter than the original hatchets, but it should still turn out pretty nice. So yeah, next step is rough profiling this thing. Here we go. And now with that done, I'm gonna go into the belt grinder right here and start rough shaping, then maybe move to the angle grinder to get some real rough stuff taken care of. This stuff is super soft compared to the axle. It's astonishing. Alright, so I've gotten a fair bit of profiling done there on the hatchet head here. But unfortunately, these interior angles, I guess you'd call them, what the hell's happening over there? Anyways, as I was saying, these interior angles are a bit too tight to easily get into with a belt grinder. But I have a solution. So I've had these files sitting around since Christmas. I've used them lightly. Blake's used them some. I finally get to put them to heavy use. So I get the head clamped up in a vise and get to work. Alright, so I've got this thing all profiled now. It's looking pretty good. With the combination of the angle grinder and the files, as you saw, as well as the belt grinder. Blake got a nice 36 grit belt on there and squared the platen up, so I decided to give that a go. All that's left for the profiling itself is to chamfer the corners, but before I do that, I need to thin that thing out, get a distal taper in there, because this thing is freaking chunky. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'll do it off camera because it'll be mostly angle grinder and be pretty boring. Here we go. Alright, this is the progress we got done today, or I got done today. Getting there, it's looking pretty good. Whenever I weighed it, it was a bit over 2.5 pounds, so a bit too heavy to be a hatchet, but slimming it down, getting there. More weight to be taken off. Gonna keep working on that tomorrow because it's late. Camera's almost dead again. Hungry and all that. So be coming back to you tomorrow. That got really foggy. It's been just over 2 months since I've worked on the hatchet. It's gotten really busy lately. I'm working now, officially employed, so I've got money coming in. But time has been very scarce. But now I have to have the hatchet done by the end of the week. First, I'm going to give you all a quick walk around because there's been a couple changes. First off, Blake graduated high school, so we got a gigantic, like 420-pound Bristol anvil. So that's really freaking cool. And Pops got himself something too. 600-pound French rhino pig. This bad boy is freaking enormous. And the last recent acquisition, I snatched this adorable little guy from work. He was lying forgotten behind a bandsaw. And the forklift operator told me I could snack him, so yep. I have some fun plans for this little guy later on. But back to the hatchet finally. So I did a bit of grinding off camera, but I just can't find a way to get the weight much down without wasting a whole lot of time. So I've got a plan. I've scribed out what I think will be a pretty neat looking little design. I'm going to come in to the small contact wheel like this number and scoop out that manner of stuff on both sides and try and shape some weight off. I can already see Gonna have to grind down and touch up the weld areas because I got freaking porosity in there. But that shouldn't be a big deal. For now, I'm gonna focus on that stuff. Here we go. And there's the profiling all taken care of, roughly. You can kind of see what it's done. It's put shoulders there at the Sharpie and shaved a fair bit of weight off of this thing. I think it could still stand to lose some more weight, but that'll have to happen at a later point because I'm already spent and I'm hungry and there's food inside. So back to it tomorrow because I've got to keep working then. Okay, it's the next day now. I'm gonna get back to work on the hatchet. I weighed the head just now, and it's basically right at a good weight for a hatchet to be. A bit more weight will come off as I finish it out, so I'm gonna do a bit more profiling at the back end of the hatchet, and then work on transitioning the little bit of a tang I have on there to meet up better with the tang I have to weld on. So here we go.